Am I the asshole for not sharing the good tea with a friend? My friend was over visiting, I offered tea. She said yes. She's not much of a tea drinker, she normally drinks cheap herbal teas, which are not actually tea anyway, and isn't picky. I, on the other hand, have a cabinet full of teas of various types, imported from around the world. I offered her a decent selection. A nice oolong, a nice white tea, a high-quality herbal, a good flavored black. She pointed at something else in the cabinet and went, "What about that one?" I hesitated, then said it's pretty expensive pu'er I had imported, and she probably wouldn't like it anyway. She said I'm being stingy and could let her taste for herself. But pu'er is a polarizing tea anyway, and this stuff is not cheap at all, and it would be difficult for me to get more of this brand. I know I can make multiple cups from it, but I hadn't been planning on doing a pu'er week right now, and really didn't want to waste it on someone who probably wouldn't like it anyway. She doesn't even like strong black tea. For those not in the know, my family has compared the smell of pu'er to fish and dirty socks. I like it a lot, but I understand it's not everybody's thing. Now she's being passive-aggressive at me. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Especially since making that particular type of tea for her would mean forcing you to use or waste your whole supply in a short period of time. Weird that she wasn't happy choosing from the ones you offered. OFFS. I spend too much time on Reddit. I thought this was going to be about gossip. Info. Why open the cabinet and give choices? You're the host, you choose what to serve. It avoids awkward conversations. Not the asshole. Your mate was out of line. You offered her decent tea, she went poking about and asked for your good stuff like it was hers. That pu'er is not builder's brew, it's niche, expensive, and an acquired taste. If she's not even into proper tea and normally drinks glorified potpourri, what's she on about? If she normally drinks floral bathwater, she'd likely hate the pu'er anyway. Let her sulk, she's being daft. Seems like being a snob got you in trouble. When she asked what it was, you could have just taken it down, told her about it, how you find the taste of it and let her smell it. Probably she would have nodded politely and moved on, satisfied. She was curious and you defaulted to, you couldn't possibly appreciate this fine brew. And that's why she got mad at you. You are the asshole for being a snob about tea and judging other people's palates. You are the asshole. By specifically saying the tea is expensive, you definitely created the impression that you didn't want to give it to her for that reason. You could have simply said it has a strong flavor, or whatever, and that a lot of people don't care for it. You could have let her smell the tea leaves. You also sound really judgmental, putting her down for drinking cheap tea, which isn't really tea anyway. While the latter statement is technically true, it makes you sound arrogant. She's being passive-aggressive because she thinks you were rude to her. Is she really even a friend? Or do you just enjoy putting her down? Am I the asshole for sitting on a woman's purse on the train? I live in a metropolitan city and the train I take home from work is crowded since everyone is also getting off work. There have been many occasions where other passengers on the train will occupy the empty seat next to them with their bag. There are people standing during the ride when there are available seats. I walked multiple cars to try to find an empty seat, without a bag, but couldn't. The last car I went to, I asked this woman if I could sit there and she pretended to not hear me. I didn't want to tap her shoulder because you never know how people would react, so I waved a bit to get her attention and she said she didn't want to hold her bag, which was a no. I told her I couldn't find any other empty seat and I had already walked the entire train and it's leaving soon. She ignored me again. I asked if she could move her bag and she still ignored me. I ended up just sitting in the seat on her purse. She began yelling at me, telling me I'm a TCH, and told me to move because she never said I could sit there. I told her that there was no other seat and the train was departing. She began pushing me to move and the conductor luckily came by them and told her to relax. She told him that I touched her purse and he asked if it was occupying a seat and she didn't reply. He ended up telling her to be considerate and left to check tickets. When the train stop came, she said she's going to report me to the police for touching her belongings and said I'm inconsiderate for invaliding her personal space because she had a rough day at work and wanted personal space. She also said I need to pay for a new purse since I caused dents in hers. I told her that it was still inconsiderate when many people are looking for seats. She said they should have been there early enough, go get empty seats. This was 9 minutes before departure. I'm a woman for reference, so it's not like she was simply uncomfortable sitting next to a man. Not the asshole. And if she was uncomfortable next to a man, that's too bad. I say that as a woman who hates having a strange man sitting next to me. It's public transit. Her purse doesn't get a seat because she had a bad day. Not the asshole, and this is hilarious. I'm using this tactic next time. Not the asshole. I go with a 3-step system. 1. Excuse me, can you move this so I can sit down? 2. Move your shit. 3. I either push it onto the floor and sit down, if they're being particularly nasty, pick it up and throw it as far down the A's of the train as I can. Not the asshole. Holiday Metro train leaving Chicago, and it's jam-packed, no open seats, and we're all hot and sweaty. On the upper level, there are 2 single seats facing each other. On one is a guy sitting, on the other is his stuff. Girl asks him to move his stuff. He says, "No, I'm saving it for my friend." She picks it all up and drops it in the aisle. Then proceeds to sit and face him for the rest of the commute. The conductor sees all of it, and when the guy complains, he merely tells him, "There's no saving seats, it was priceless." Not the asshole. Public transit seats are for people, not purses. You followed every reasonable step. Looking for other seats, asking politely multiple times, and trying to get her attention respectfully. What were you supposed to do? Levitate? Your approach was methodical and damn fair with multiple attempts at communication. The conductor's reaction tells us everything about who was being unreasonable. Her rough day doesn't trump basic transit etiquette, and honestly, wanting personal space during rush hour is like wanting a private pool in the ocean. Her bag doesn't pay fare, and your actions were justified after she repeatedly ignored your polite requests. Not the asshole. I commute by train in a major metro area, and I always have bags. I ride from the end of the line into the city. Of course it's nice when the train isn't too crowded and you can hold your bag on your lap, but at the end of the day seats are for butts, not bags. It's the rule in basically every commuter rail I've ever taken too. You have to be a little confrontational to not get your humanity trampled on public transit, and you tried polite a couple of times. Am I the asshole for refusing to try on the wedding dress my mom bought me without asking? I, 28F, recently got engaged and was excited to pick out my wedding dress, something I've always looked forward to doing myself. My mom, 56F, took it upon herself to buy a wedding dress for me. She never asked me to go shopping together or send me ideas. She literally went out, bought a dress she liked, and then put it in my closet without saying anything. I just found it one day while getting something else. No conversation, no heads up, just a dress hanging there. It's nothing like what I would have chosen for myself. It's super traditional, big, poofy, very Princess Bride, and just not me. She never asked what I liked, what styles I was thinking about, or if I even wanted help. I feel hurt that she didn't involve me at all. Now she's upset I haven't tried it on and says I'm being ungrateful. Family is saying I should just try it on to make her happy, but it feels like she made a big decision about my wedding without me. She let my 2 older sisters have their wedding dress moments and she didn't even bother to ask me what I wanted. Am I the asshole for refusing to try it on? Post update. 1. I see a lot of comments about me changing my lock, but I wanted to clarify that I found this wedding dress in my childhood closet in my parents' house. They kept all our rooms the same, so sometimes I store clothes that don't fit me in there. That is when I found the wedding dress my mom intended for me. 2. For everyone asking about the cost. I actually don't know how much the dress cost. I didn't ask, and honestly, I didn't want to know. The dress isn't my style at all, and I'd probably be horrified to find out how much was spent on something I had no say in and don't even like. Based on how my mom usually shops, I wouldn't be surprised if it was over $500, $1,000, but again, this whole situation isn't really about the price tag. It's about not being included in such a personal decision and feeling like my preferences didn't matter. Info. What was her explanation as to why she did this? Not the asshole. Go to the thrift store and pick out a hideous mother of the bride dress, put it in her closet. You might want to consider changing the locks to your home so that she can't just drop by and hang things in your closet. Plus, you're 28. I'd just hand the dress back and continue on with your plan to go dress shopping. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It's totally understandable to want to have your own experience picking out a wedding dress, especially since it's something you've been looking forward to. Your feelings are valid, and it's okay to want to be part of that decision-making process. I hope your mom understands that this is about you feeling heard and respected, and I'm sure you'll find a way to work through this together. Not the asshole. While she might have meant well, the reality is it is a huge overstep on her part, something that if she has any social awareness at all she would know. And frankly, I'm not convinced she meant well to begin with. It come across as a huge control grab on her part. Either that or she wants to start a fight. You have no obligation to make her happy about this. It will only encourage more stupid, or more likely, deliberately bad, behavior. Give it away and get your own. And best wishes for your wedding. Not the asshole. Is your mom always like this? Because that is some next level weird behavior. Boundary setting sounds like it's going to be absolutely key in the run up to the wedding. Plus passwords, etc. Am I the asshole for telling a guy at my gym he's a creep and needs to change somewhere else? At the gym I go to, the men's and women's locker room entrances are side by side. The women's door stays shut, but typically the men's stays open, simply because the actual changing area is tucked away. There are lockers by the door but no one uses them because they are far from where people change, and people can easily see you if you use those front lockers and the door is open. There is one guy the first see most days that changes, gets fully naked, and uses the lockers by the door. He's the only person I've ever seen use those lockers and obviously the only person I've seen change there. I've never cared too much, just thought he was weird. Until yesterday, my girlfriend told me as she was entering the women's locker room she made eye contact with that guy since the door was open and he was practically standing in the doorway, technically in the locker room. Yes, he was fully naked, and smiled and waved at her. I immediately went to the locker room and got pretty pissed at him and told him to stop using those fucking lockers, you creep. We exchanged some words but boiled down to him saying he can change wherever and me saying yes but why in front of the door. He then reported me. I was told he has been brought to their attention before but since he is at a locker and in the locker room they can't really tell him to stop. And that I should just let it be and there is no reason to be angry. One detail, this is in a European country that is fine with nudity. So am I, but not when he's basically just flashing women going into their space. So my question is, am I the asshole for calling this guy out? At the very least, the gym is tough for not having the locker room door closed as general practice. It's cheap, quick, and easy to install a self-closing door and everyone's problem is solved. Not the asshole, but you're barking up the wrong tree. He's a creep, or weird, or insensitive, or some combination of those, but he won't change his behavior because of you. The gym should remove those lockers, or better, provide a proper labyrinth-style entrance to the changing rooms. I thought all gyms had those, at least all I've ever been to. I chime in with haven't you people ever heard of closing the goddamn door? No, it's much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poise and rationality. Not the asshole. We exchanged some words but boiled down to him saying he can change wherever and me saying yes but why in front of the door. He then reported me. I was told he has been brought to their attention before but since he is at a locker and in the locker room they can't really tell him to stop. And that I should just let it be and there is no reason to be angry. So he can wave and smile at all the women going to their changing room in the nude and the gym is like, herp, derp, we can't do anything about it. Maybe you could look into other gyms in the area. If you find one, come back and tell them why you switched gyms. Why can't the gym simply install one of those closing springs so that the door won't stay open? Could someone maybe close the fucking door?